Dear colleagues, we continue our work in the topic of the next press conference, the second anniversary of the inauguration of the National Guard of Ukraine. Svitlana Pavlovska, press officer of the National Guards of Ukraine. Good afternoon. On 26th of March, we celebrated the Day of the National Guards of Ukraine, the structure which from the very first days of its existence very quickly and out loud declared its importance in the security sector of Ukraine. This is one of the components of the security sector of Ukraine, and it has a lot of responsibilities and tasks carried out by the servicemen today. The major direction of development of the National Guards today remains to be the formation of the optimal system of management and the rational resource provision in compliance with the common European standards according to the effective legislation. And development of the National Guards of Ukraine as a military formation with the law enforcement functions has to be targeted at increasing the capability of the National Guards of Ukraine in order to ensure the public order and security, physical protection of the critical infrastructure facilities, participation in the protection and defense of the national frontier of Ukraine, also participation in the operation of military force of Ukraine in critical situations when there is the threat to the national security in special periods of time. They ensure the public order in the city of Kyiv in 21 regional centers and 28 towns of the regional district, responsibility in 24 countryside populated areas, and we ensure the defense of the air force or aviation and railroad transport. And they allocate more than more than 3,000 servicemen take part in to ensure all those functions. They took care of about more than 2,000 mass-scale events, majority of which took place in the capital city of Ukraine. And we involved more than 140,000 of the personnel of the National Guards of Ukraine. In addition to the above-mentioned functions, the personnel of the National Guards were involved in the defense and protection, 28 facilities and projects of the national security of Ukraine, of the national and public ownership to enhance the defense of the imminent and potential threats. We are talking about the potential terrorist acts on the territory of Ukraine. You remember the terrorist acts in France, and what kind of actions were taken by the authorities of Ukraine in order to ensure the protection of those facilities and our facilities in Ukraine. They were involved in the service near the checkpoints, 5 checkpoints in the east of Ukraine. And if we're talking protection, defense of the specifically, especially important, critical importance facilities like 4 NPPs in this public company, Chernobyl NPP. By the way, and the public of the former formation have been involved in the protection or guarding since the days of the Chernobyl NPP construction. Also, they are involved in guarding of 2 strategic research institutes, and also they inside the garden they ensure the guiding of the critical important freight in the territory of Ukraine. There were 27 shifts for that purpose. The National Guards of Ukraine are also involved in guarding the embassies of different countries, 26 embassies, 26 consulates, 16 residence places, and 14 representative offices. In the southeastern region of the country, the units of the National Guards of Ukraine have been involved over the previous year As part of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The servicemen of the National Guard of Ukraine were also involved in taking care of different combat actions, specifically in the restricting functions, in the protection and defense of critical important communications and facilities. Also, they took care of the water reservoir area near the Sea of Azov. Besides, the northern eastern region of Ukraine, they also take part in the protection of the Ukrainian southwestern part of Ukraine and the near the Moldova-Ukraine border, together with the border guards of Ukraine. So we have established very close relationship with those. We were talking about their participation in the ATO zone. They involve 75% of the personnel of the special forces who already have been involved in the special reconnaissance and rescue functions of the territory of the Donetsk, Lugansk, and Transcarpathian regions in the operational functions and counter-sniper combat, one of the most important directions of the activity of the National Guards of Ukraine today is the further development of our relations with the foreign partners like the National Guards of the United States of America and the armed forces of the United States. We closely cooperate with the Gendarmerie of France, Turkey, and Romania, Carabiniers of Italy, and last year we established close interaction to cooperate with the Ministry of the National Defense of the Republic of Poland and National Guards of Georgia, specifically with our colleagues from the Baltic states. A major contribution to the process of training of the personnel National Guards of Ukraine became their participation in the joint Ukrainian-US Guardian rapid training and exercises. More than 1,000 have been trained within those two programs. We trained in the respective number of the instructors who work together in different units and enrich their knowledge while building the system of management, the experience which they mastered during the joint Ukrainian-American exercises. The skills, knowledge, and experience acquired during those events are instrumental for the further deepening of the cooperation between Ukraine and other countries in order to ensure the domestic security in our respective countries to combat the potential threats. Even taking into consideration our own combat experience, we introduced cardinal changes and amendments in the system of combat and special training of our personnel. Specifically talking, we enlarged the capabilities with the training centers of the National Guards of Ukraine, and we increased the material and logistics of this service. Very important today is further perfection, integration of the National Guards of Ukraine, the system management, and the national military management and control. During the decisive rebuff response exercise, the command of the National Guards mastered the issues of interoperability between the armed forces of Ukraine and other military formations and law enforcement agencies in order to take care of the common or general functions in order to rebuff the armed aggression at different levels of command and management. The work is underway in order to further perfect the structure of the National Guards of Ukraine, taking into consideration the NATO standards. Based on the NATO standards, one of the examples, we introduced the NATO standards in the issues of ecological rehabilitation of the servicemen based on the decompression SAS program after the combat activities. We also they approved the recommendation regarding the medical rehabilitation, psychological follow-up, and adaptation and adjustment of those participants of the ATO operation which suffered some damage wounded. Also, for the psychological support of the National Guards of Ukraine, the special department of the training center in Kyiv, which is part of the scientific and education institutions of the Internal Affairs Ministry. They opened a special chair of psychological disciplines, which enables us autonomously, without irrespective or independent of some other training centers, to train the National Guard's personnel in the realm of psychology. And besides, last year we had more than 30 trainings, workshops, seminars in order to upgrade the skills of the military psychologists with the involvement of domestic and foreign experts. We had experts from Israel, Denmark, France, Croatia, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, United States, and Poland. And this work is we continue this effort today as well. The training of the officers for the National Guards of Ukraine. This is done in the National Academy of the National Guards of Ukraine, which is located in Kharkiv, and directed the Department of National Guards of Ukraine in the city of Kyiv, which is part of the Scientific and Research Institute of the National Academy of Internal Affairs of Ukraine. Recruiting of soldiers for the National Guards is through the drafting based on the compulsory service. Also, for the first time ever in the National Guards, they started the work in order to invite for the volunteers and the contractual basis for the taking considerations the mental capacities of each individual. We also created the interactive department where everybody wishing to do that can get the information about the contractual service or volunteer service in the National Guards of Ukraine using the chats or just websites, within the websites. If you're talking about the Territorial Association Kyiv, Kharkiv, Dnipropetrovsk, and Odessa, they established the respective centers as part of with the respective number of the specialist experts. Anybody can actually fill out the form or get the necessary information regarding his or her own contractual service or the possibility to become the volunteer for the National Guards for his relatives or near and dear. And there are quite a few cases like that. Also, they can use the field motor clubs in Kyiv and every day in all the districts of the city. The mobile team took care of the propaganda work, disseminating the information regarding the volunteer or contractual basis service in the National Guards of Ukraine, the opportunities to get involved in this service, in the financial support, etc., on the package, and some kind of the explanatory work, how the people can actually because in their life this specific service in the National Guards of Ukraine. Also, would like to mention that in National Guards of Ukraine, they can pay a lot of attention to the humanitarian component, and we cannot allow ourselves the luxury not to use the information regarding our killed servicemen, the wounded, all the necessary steps to be taken in order to keep the memory of those who were killed during the ATO operation. During the whole period, the ATO period, 948 National Guards of Ukraine were bestowed or were awarded with different national awards. 122 were awarded sign after being killed. Two of them were awarded the Gold Star. We are talking about General Kulchitsky and Colonel Zavada. They opened 66 memorial plaques. They renamed the 15 streets on territory of Ukraine, which bear the names of our killed heroes. We have 5 obelisks of memory, or steles of memory. Today, our experts, together with the regional district administrations, they carry out necessary work in order to open 7 more memorial plaques and renaming 17 more streets. Over the last year, we took care of a set of measures to provide to equip the National Guards of Ukraine with the new equipment and the individual means of protection and the optical means of surveillance. We received 7,000 of small arms we purchased over 100 armored vehicles. The state budget allocated over 3 million hryvnia for the procurement of the technical equipment for the let's say for the kitchen equipment. We're talking about the field kitchens and other equipment which have to provide the to ensure survivability of our units in different places of their dislocation, specifically in the ATO zone. We received over 30 tons of ammunition, different caliber, and would like to note at this point of time that last year the National Guards of Ukraine received and then disseminated to different units, actually provided different units of the National Guards more than 300 apartments. So the National Guards of Ukraine approved this date with the respective results. But we do realize that these rates of today set before us very serious tasks to respond to. We want to respond to this very quickly and in a rational manner. We continue to study today the experience amassed by our foreign colleagues and further perfect our own achievements regarding the development of the National Guards of Ukraine. And today we can make our conclusions. We are going through the reforms and we are prepared to take care of the tasks set before us, both in the ATO zone and elsewhere in our everyday life. The report is over. Thank you. Thank you, Svitlana. Questions? Please introduce yourselves. Leslie Glavalte, Channel 5. Could you please give us the general number of the servicemen in the National Guards and how many of those are on the volunteer basis, volunteers? Taking consideration that the National Guard is based on the former internal forces. So can you name here three major differences between the today's National Guards and the former internal force servicemen? I'll start with the first your question. Today, according to the effective legislation, the number of the personnel of the National Guards of Ukraine can reach up to 60,000. But today we have 48,000 personnel, but realistically 42,000 actually serving the ranks of the National Guards of Ukraine today. As regards your question regarding the differences, okay, the number of the volunteers or the contractual basis servicemen, we cannot say no today to the mixed approach to the service, and the draftees is an alignable part of the organization of the service of the National Guards, like other military formations. I must say that the draftee is the candidate for future volunteer-based or contractual-based service, and we pay every lot of attention in order to ensure that as many as possible of the draftees who prove themselves to be real good soldiers be given opportunity to sign the contract and they continue their service on the contractual basis as volunteers. I must say that 1/3 of the National Guards of Ukraine is the share of the contractual-based servicemen. Today we strive to preserve the draft service. We understand that they are the civil persons. Unfortunately, we have a lot of problems associated with the organization of their service, and actually they are not really experts or specialists of this service, which have to become such within a very short period of time. Though among those are quite talented people who are prepared to take care of their duties. But the experience of our foreign colleagues shows to us that we have to have a specific number of the volunteers in our, the high professionals, the servicemen who have the necessary financial support and who are ready and prepared to take care of the tasks set before them. As for the differences, there are more than three, but the major ones, as you ask, the internal forces and their own troops, their structure, they were designed in order to fulfill the task within the boundaries of the country. Unfortunately, that service was not mobile at all. They had only small arms as the air ammunition, and they took care, in majority of cases, the task which, according to the effective legislation, is not the task for the National Guards. For example, the convoy tasks, which is not within the functions of National Guards of Ukraine, but proceeding from the fact that this task, to delegate this task to some other structures in Ukraine, we do not have this possibility to do that. We continue to take care about this function as well. This is not very much interesting to our citizens, but if we fail to carry out this function as well, we won't be able to ensure the good order in our streets, But definitely the National Guards of Ukraine, the internal troops didn't have the chances to participate in the military operations, which is the case today with the National Guards, with the Armed Forces of Ukraine and other military formations of Ukraine. But there are objective reasons for that, and our reality actually dictate all those terms and conditions of our today's existence of the National Guards as a structure, as a component of the security sector of Ukraine. And speaking about the subsistence or the support, the commander of this National Guard, Svitlana, always says when the strategy started in our country, when we started to be involved in taking care of this tragedy in the east of Ukraine, the National Guards didn't have any heavy equipment, any military equipment. Within a short period of time, we had to take care of providing our servicemen with all the necessary things. In those days, the commander of the National Guards, and now he is the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Stepan Poltorak, I remember his words. He said that whatever we have at the exhibition of the armaments and security, helicopters and the smaller armored vehicles, all of this must be equipped. The National Guards has to be equipped with all that, which we did within a short period of time. And though we still have the lack of respective equipment and armaments, our ATO, our servicemen in the ATO zone are provided with everything necessary. And again, we are trying to bring to absolutely new high-quality level while cooperating with our foreign partners. If previously we were talking about the interaction or interoperability, like the formal exchange of our experience, today we are talking about very powerful need to draw from the source of experience of our experts from our foreign colleagues, which are badly required by us today to organize our activities, all types of our activities. That's why we try to have a comprehensive approach to study the experience from European countries and from the United States in order to completely construct the model of the activities of National Guards of Ukraine, which is going to be absolutely optimal for today in order to take care of all tasks faced by our structure. Thank you, Svitlana. If there are no more questions or clarification, then thank you very much. Thank you for coming here, and good luck to you. Thank you.